Well, hello again, KingdomPreneurs. We are on day 23 of our 30 days of pulling energy to create the space you desire and for your future. Today, as we continue to talk about pulling energy, we're going to talk about systems. We spoke yesterday about the soulmate VC investor for your project and your business. Again, I am Satella DeVeaux. I am a KingdomPreneur, spiritual entrepreneur, working with spiritual entrepreneurs, other KingdomPreneurs, creative entrepreneurs, and business owners, healers, anyone seekers who wants to open up their soul scroll mission, really dive into what it is that you're supposed to be doing in the earth and showing up and having big impact. I'm here to facilitate you and help you to get clarity around that and then to put a system around it. And having said that, today we're going to talk again about pulling energy in these 30 days and what does it look like to be a munificent kingdom capitalist financier from the perspective that you created your enterprise. You have looked at your project, you know what your team is, you know who your target audience is, you know what you want to do. There's still a lot of work that has to be done. And what if you would have noticed over the last few days in our speaking is that I made a shift because, as I said, we cannot just stay in the spirituality of it or the energetics of the spirituality, but we also have to come into the natural realm. We have to come in and we have to be optimistically pragmatic about what we do. And because we are creative people and visionary people, oftentimes, we like to stay in the creative space. There's a place for that, and there's also a place that you have to come into the creation of your vision, your big vision, your project, the enterprise that you want to bring up in the world, that you want to have big impact. And as I said earlier, I am convinced that the people that I'm speaking to, that's what you want to do. At this point in your life, you don't want to work 80-hour weekdays or 40-hour work weeks or trading your time for dollars and so forth. You want to be doing that thing that you love. You want it to be doing it efficiently, effectively, with ease and with joy. Remember, we spoke about operating from a place of rest, peace, joy, and staying in those vibrations, in those frequencies will help you to create that space and operate in that space where no matter what's going on around you, you're able to stay in that space. As we have been doing these 30 days of energy pulls, I've had 2 or 3 days where my provider for my website that I would upload my videos to, even though I have a particular plan that says unlimited, there's in their system, there's a blockage that cuts you off. And it happened again the other day, which is why you didn't get a recording on I believe it was day 21 or day 20 when I just did a post. But in the past, that would have so frustrated me because the flow that I was in was interrupted. When you learn how to operate from an energetic space, and remember the first thing that we spoke about was learning how to be a receptor of receiving of those things that are positive and those things that are negative, so that when they happen, you operate from a space of awareness. Okay, that was something I needed to know. So I wrote them and I said, listen, how can we correct this? I do lots of video blogs? Or is there a way that you can tell me based on your system, because communication is important, based on your system, everything else about you I like. Is there a way that you can alert me when I'm reaching that space, even though I have a pro plan, which doesn't make sense, right? But you're staying in that positive vibe, whereas, okay, I needed to know this. I know it. Now let's continue on with the process. So what did I do? There was an interruption in my system that I let it stop the flow that I needed to get out to you. No. And so when we're talking about putting in place the energetics behind the systems that you use, you have to know the systems very well. And what happened is, okay, I began to learn something about my website. So that allowed me now to be mindful, okay, if I've done 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 7 videos, I'm running up on some space. I need to create something very short. In that space, I might just do blog posts and do a Facebook Live. You don't let anything hold you back. You see, when you have your vision, your big vision, and you have the plan for what you want to do, you have to be willing, as I said at one point, the modalities that you use can shift and change. If something is working great for you today, it may not work great for you tomorrow, and you will have to make a switch. Once you are able to communicate with your soulmate clients and customers that, hey, there's an interruption, or you allow them to know what's going on. Once you communicate with people, I find people are really open to working with you and allowing you to continue in what it is that you and them are vibing with and building together. So what I wanted to talk to you about today was, you've written the vision, you know what the project is, you know what the operational cost of the project is per year. You're looking out 3 years. You're now energetically becoming a match to the kind of VC capital soulmate investor that you are looking for. And they're looking for you, by the way. And so now when you talk with them, some of the questions they're going to ask you, whether you're offline or online business or a hybrid of both, what they're going to want to know is, okay, what systems do you have in place? What systems are in place for interruption, delays? What happens if the system goes down? What happens then? And these are things that you need to know the answers to beforehand. So having systems in place are very important, whether they be, as I have here, ERP systems, which are enterprise resource planning systems that are basically, for me, for offline businesses. They do work with online entities as well, but mostly they're not intuitive enough to function that way. So you would have to look at another system. But then you have other e-commerce platforms. You know, you have something out there like a Shopify, or you know, you have to make sure your system is set up that it's very, very mobile friendly. Because one of the other things that we found is that over 74% of people check out things with their smartphone. And they don't like doing too much or a lot of transactions with it, but they also like the convenience of being able to look at it and see it and say, okay, when I get home or to my laptop or my desktop, desktops are still very popular out there, believe it or not. And so, but being mobile friendly, and where you can communicate and say, hey, you know, I'm going to be online at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, or I'm just we have a promotion going on in our business and we're sending it out to all of our customers, 10%, 5%, whatever it is, but that you can communicate with your customers. And so you have systems in place that allow you to do that, whether you're online or offline, is very important. And being mobile friendly is a must. Then you have to look at your e-commerce software platforms, how the banking, PayPal, or any other platform out there, how do you receive funds from your potential soulmate client and customers? That's very important, and that is something that you would have to look at. You also need to look at how you will be tracking with your team, because you're not going to be able to do all of this alone. This is why looking at the energetics of the ecosystem and the ethos of your online enterprise and your offline enterprise, or a hybrid of both. What is it like? What are you creating? And do you have the systems in place that would facilitate you being a flawless and just free-flowing system for your customers, for the most part, that even when things happen as they normally do, your customers are used to such a standard of perfection and efficiency from you that if something goes wrong and you're able to deal with it right away, and you have delegated and given space and authority for people to deal with situations as they come up, even when you're not there, you have to have these in place. Some of these will be people to people. Some of them will be software systems. Something went wrong, you can get an automated information sent out to your clients, to their emails, or definitely to their mobile, and let them know right away, hey, something happened and there's been a disruption or interruption, and we expect to be back up and running give them an estimation of time. That should be something that's automatically embedded and inserted into whatever software system that you're dealing with. All right? How do you deal with people when they want refunds? All of these kind of systems need to be in play. Software system that actually captures all of your tax and legal information. There's a lot of different things that we will go into. This is why I'm saying to you, if you find and resonate with what I'm giving you, check out my website, SatellaDeVeaux.com, and go to the training section. Look for the workshop that I'm going to have coming up in May 12th. Sign up for it. It's only $275. Sign up for it, and we'll be going over a lot of this information in a lot more detail. So if you're finding that this resonates with you, if you're finding that this is making sense for you, then I think you need to get over there to the website and sign up for the workshop. But you also need to look at support. And support will be on two levels, basically. You need to have a team in place, and that's something that I've been looking at. And there's a time frame for you to do it. When you're starting out, you may not need to. There are certain things that you could do yourself, and if you can, you go ahead, but don't let anything be a strain to you. And the reason that you want systems in place is so that things can run flawlessly as possible and smoothly. You also want, if you are traveling or wherever you are, you have a system that can facilitate anywhere you might be in the globe, you and your team being able to communicate, and everybody receiving basically the same information, something like a base camp or buffer, something like those would be great systems that would assist you along those lines. The second thing with support is that you yourself need to have a mentor. Earlier last year, I connected with one or two people that I was able to speak with, get some clarity for myself, and then get committed to what I'm doing. As I said at the very beginning, these energy pulls were something that I wanted to do from last year, but because I was still hiding and not willing to show up as myself and be critiqued and be criticized by people, I realized, wait a minute, that's not who I am. I've always been a risk taker. I've always taken calculated risks. I've always been willing to step out into the deep waters and swim. You know, and for somebody who lives in the Bahamas surrounded by water, I can't swim, you know, but I can swim energetically. I can swim spiritually. So I think I will make it. But you have to have those teams in place and have mentors that help you. I started saying to myself, there's a certain amount of income that I want to make every month. And so the question had to be, what would I have to be and do to produce that kind of income? My enterprise need be that I can produce that kind of income. And what I'm doing right now is helping to facilitate that. So understanding what you want and putting those systems in place, working with people that will help bring clarity to you, and not being afraid to charge for what you're worth so that you can put those kind of systems in place. Because at the end of the day, even though we do the work energetically, everything costs money to put everything in play. So being very clear about systems is important, whether you're online or offline. There's certain standards. This is why I say always that once you get clear on you, and once you get clear on what you want to do and who you want to do it with, putting a system around it is not difficult. It'll take work, but it's not difficult. And the fourth thing I would like you to have in your systems approach as you look at it, and that's something I want you to think about over the next day or two, look at what kind of systems do I need to have in place? And maybe you don't know what they are right now, but this is why you need to be a part of the workshop, so we could begin to look at these different things and get an overall picture of what that looks like. Have an overall strategy of how you're going to get from point A to point B and beyond. And so again, if you liked this particular video and all the other videos that have gone before, please like and subscribe and leave comments. Check out my YouTube page, which is KingdomPreneur, Alchemy of Entrepreneurship and Wealth. The Facebook page is the same thing, KingdomPreneur, Alchemy of Entrepreneurship and Wealth. It's a Facebook group. Join the group. You know, we're just getting started. And so if you like it and subscribe and leave comments and all that kind of stuff. But again, I really love you guys. I'm loving these 30 days, and we're just going to continue to move on. I will see you tomorrow, where we will continue our 30 days. And all I would like you to do tonight is think about who you want to reach, when you want to reach them, and what kind of systems that you may need. Just get a broad overview about it. But I hope that was of great help and assistance to you. Good night. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow.